All right, what it do, family? It's your favorite host, Mike on the mic, coming to you live, joined by
your favorite girl, Sacoya.
And that guy, Monte.
And this is the Vibe Perspective Podcast, episode 13, or season 2, episode 3, as many people on.
Episode 3, because that's what I'm going by.
Going by the, and if you watch anime, it goes concurrently. Actually, it is episode 13, if you want to be honest. Kind of like 14, because we got like a little mini episode.
I'm just going to put that out there.
Had a little mini episode.
Shout out to my little sister. She's 13.
Here we go with this numerology mess. Even though 14 is 1 and 4, and that's my 2 favorite numbers.
I'm glad you co-signed.
Yeah, man. So this week has been, it's been raining, snowing, doing all types of stuff outside. It's super gloomy or whatever. But, you know what I'm saying, the album that we've been listening to this week has been keeping us in high spirits. Right, guys? High spirits. High spirits.
But it's been keeping me entertained.
Yeah, that's about it.
High spirits. High spirits. And the album I'm talking about is Chez Noir, Food for Thought. That's the album we're going to be reviewing today, and stick around towards the end to see that interview. While you're here, though, hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, throw some comments down there. You know what I'm saying?
Let us know what y'all want us to talk about, all of that.
Yeah. And then after that, you can go to our Instagrams, our social medias for the podcast, as well as our individual Instagrams and social medias. And, hit a follow. Let us hear your perspectives. You know what I'm saying? We want to hear all your opinions about all the stuff we're talking about and whatever new topics you want us to get into later.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like we talk about some controversial stuff sometimes. So
sometimes.
Don't be shy. It could be whatever.
Sometimes.
It can literally be whatever. Like, I don't
Because
know.
scared to say no.
Well, we definitely ain't scared to say no. I mean, unlike Whoopi Goldberg, who definitely didn't say no to apologizing. It's in a bit of a controversy. Just like our conversations.
Yeah, this is true. So, I mean, if you don't know, she was suspended for 2 weeks for a comment that she made about the Holocaust.
On The View. Was that 13 million listeners or some shit like that?
Yeah. So the comment was that the Holocaust wasn't about race.
Wasn't about race, yeah.
So
what do you guys think about just that in general? Like the Holocaust being about race? Like, what do you think?
I actually agree with what Whoopi Goldberg said. When you go and watch her interview, she talks about how her perspective, being a black person, what race kind of means to her. And I agreed with her, and I get the people are mad, but I don't think she should have apologized for it.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
What about you, Monte?
I agree, but I kind of disagree. I think she kind of misspoke a little bit. But it's also just like you said, it comes down to what people's interpretation of race is.
Yeah.
Because in essence, it was a genocidal act. We can all agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree to that.
Definitely.
In order for it to be a genocidal act, it has to be an act committed against an entire group of people.
Right.
And that group of people is distinguished, I guess, by racial qualities.
Yeah.
Facial features, religious beliefs, things of that nature, which all kind of tie into, I guess, what the idea of race was at that time.
Yeah.
So for her to say that it wasn't about race, yes and no.
Right. Yeah.
Because
I get that.
In essence, it was white people on white people, so you can't really say it was.
But that's the gist of it, right? If you're talking
white people
about
on white
race,
people violence is so funny.
White on white people.
what do we, or I guess it is what you view race as, but. Right. If we're looking at them, which is what a lot of people view race as off of face value, when I see you, what do I see?
Yeah.
I see white people.
And understand, you're not creating that construct yourself. Like you're almost navigating through something that's existing around you. It's not and somebody will almost call people out when they do that. They almost will blame you for the system. They'll blame you and how you act in the system on you. It's a system. I didn't create the concept of race. I didn't create the ideology behind it. I'm just a player in the board game, So I think to the original point of whether it was about race or not, I think to both of your points I agree, because I think that she did misspeak, but I feel like I know what she wanted to kind of interpret was saying that we understand race as one specific thing in America. Mm-hmm. And that's very important, because we have it's an institution that is built behind everything that we do, every single, from birth to death. You will be encountering racism and the institution of racism and everything that it's touched all at once. And I think that's a very specific understanding, being someone who's a part of the group that's being, held at the genocide. That's a very specific idea of race. And I think it's absolutely true. It's reality for the person living in America. But then when you think about like Germany, in theory, technically, if we're being like semantics wise, then yes, it was about race, because, Nazis saw, Jews and, the like as an inferior race. And technically, if you weren't Aryan with like blonde hair, blue eyes, or whatever. But that's a very different concept. And it's a borrowed concept, by the way, because if we know our history, that like the Jewish Holocaust was very much so borrowed in terms of the idealism from American slavery. And that's very important, because it was borrowed from an idea of what race, was in his mind. Like what he interpreted race as from an outside person looking in and saying, I want to recreate that. It ended up looking like the Holocaust instead of racism with an institution that is long been there before you've been born, long been there, since, 1619. And these are important distinctions. So I don't think you can say they're exactly the same. I think they both have their individuality. But yeah, no, I definitely agree. I don't think she should have apologized either, because
I definitely don't think she should have apologized.
She's like,
I think she should have opened the conversation up more to like just like you were saying, what she really wanted to get at, which was slavery.
Yeah,
you feel me? Like,
literally.
That's the crux of the argument. If you really want to talk about a genocidal act that was clearly about race, you have no bigger example than American slavery.
Yeah, literally.
There's nothing bigger. There's nothing bigger than that.
What's interesting to me also is that a lot of people took to Twitter about it, and they're upset that she wasn't fired. They're mad because the 2 weeks wasn't enough. Like, they're comparing her to Roseanne Barr and Gina, what's her name?
Rodriguez?
No, not
Niggas give me heebie-jeebies?
Not Gina Rodriguez.
heebie-jeebies.
It's
Niggas
Karen
give me heebie-jeebies.
Carano? Carano, sorry. I was tongue-tied a little. Gina Carano. So I'm going to share with y'all what these two people did or said. All right. So if y'all don't know what Roseanne did, she went on Twitter and she tweeted about an African-American woman who advised Barack Obama Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby.
Oh, I remember that.
Equals VJ.
I remember that.
Which was Valerie Garrett.
Yeah,
so,
she's the Antichrist.
Yes, you deserve to be fired, ma'am. You're racist.
As
I'm sorry,
fuck.
what?
Like, as fuck.
How does what Whoopi Goldberg say compare to what she said?
She wasn't attacking anybody. She was just analyzing an idea.
Yeah.
Analyzing a piece of history.
Yeah.
That was it.
Things are different. Like, I think it's very often where people try to conflate two ideas, like two, like, different struggles, and saying, oh, it's like this. Like, almost like how they say racism is like, being LGBTQ in America today and facing, like, the issues that have kind of foregone the community. It's completely apples and oranges here. Like, it's not the same. And too far often we do this thing where we, like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, on one hand, it'll be, I think they're actually both in the same hand. One will say that, two different struggles are the exact same and, we should be in solidarity because look where we came from. No. And then number two, it'll be like the Oppression Olympics conversation where it's like, oh, your struggle shouldn't be weighed higher than mine. Mm-hmm. But let me just be super clear real quick. American slavery and all of the system that it brought in America that is hard ironclad right now is absolutely the worst, and I will say this and stand on this hill forever, is the worst genocidal act as well as terrorist act upon any group ever. Fuck what you talking about any other thing. Like, most and still going.
I approve this message.
Like, still going. Like, and best believe America is the belly of the beast for racism. We're not even thinking about Europe, because Europe been gone, like, for a while in terms of, like, the wiles of racism. Like, that's America, baby. Like, the richest country in the world, built by the slaves that they're still destroying and, and bludgeoning today as people. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. You can't tell me it's anything worse than that.
And that's the thing, like, why would y'all call for her to be fired at all? It's gotten to a point where you can't say anything
not a thing.
about the Jewish community at all.
Why can't we have that same
unless,
look?
that's what I'm about to say. Like, unless you get the max punishment, like it's like getting the death sentence.
It should be
the death penalty for like jaywalking. Like what is happening here?
Is that a part of the reparations claim? I think that should be, right? Like it should come with like the host of firings that after you say something about my name, put some respect on my name.
Put some respect on my name.
Like every time you even mention me, best believe you walking on eggshells. Like it's like it should go silent in the room. Like we should be afraid, you know. If that was the case, then I think that should be a part of a reparations claim. Like you say anything, like cancel culture should be in like legislation for this one thing.
No more
like
jobs.
we will literally cancel you. Like that looks like your two main jobs, whatever those two are, automatically gone. If you only got one, we fining you for the other one that you don't have. Like it should be straight blackball. Like you can't get hired anywhere because we are racist. We can't have that culture in our establishment. That's how you peel them out. Like because ain't no anti-Semites nowhere. What is they call anti-Semites? Like
anti-Semitic.
Like they, bro. Even if they are, you won't never know they exist until like some super wild pitchfork, fucking Charleston type situation.
But
like,
let a black person say one thing about
It's
the
over.
situation, and now they're anti-Semitic. Labeled that quick.
It's over. It's over.
See what happened to Nick Cannon.
Really, really quickly though,
Them kids.
I wanted to share with y'all what the other shorty said, and I want y'all opinion on what y'all think. So, she said that Jews were beaten in the streets not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children, because history is edited. Most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? And that got her fired from The Mandalorian.
It should have.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm confused because that's the whole issue that I'm talking about. Like people love conflating two different issues that have
Nothing.
like. And it's crazy because like
views?
it's nuance that goes with issues. Like there's nuance
Where
that
were you
goes
going
with
with that?
historical
Right.
happenings. Like,
She was reaching is where she was going.
yeah, people want to be oppressed.
Tell y'all something. Let me.
White
tell
people
y'all.
want to be oppressed.
So bad, bro.
Like
they want to be oppressed
so bad. Why?
It's I think it's all part of the idea of like wanting to be black.
Yeah, literally.
You know, like I don't understand it, bro.
Yeah.
Honestly,
man.
truly.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But, you know, I feel like at this point we should kind of call it out when we see it. Like when we see whoever, you know, specifically people who are like hating on black people or like, you know, but they like betting on LeBron and shit. Like, you know, they hate black people but they love the newest Meg Thee Stallion Lil Baby joint. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, of course.
It's like this compartmentalization has to be called out. Like and that's the thing. You have to understand it as a sickness. Like it has to be viewed as an actual sickness. Like you got leprosy damn near. Like stay away from me. You need help. Like you need literal help. Stay the fuck away from me. You know, because once you see that they have like this, like, because I think that's the evil part about it. Like the evil part is like being racist, but also like shutting that one part of your mind off for a second and then believing you're a good person. But like at any point you could just flip the door open and then you're racist Ron again. You know, I think those are the most dangerous people who can like hide it and then they don't even realize, you know, that they're doing this weird thing where they're just like they believe they're a good person still, but they like to lynch Negroes. Like
How?
literally
How?
like we'll go to church on Sunday
I
and
swear.
praise Jesus but was like stringing a guy up. Like, and we've seen that all through the 1900s. You know what I'm saying? The evangelical church is like all white people, but they like in the South, like Southern white people. Like, huh? You know what I'm saying? It don't make no sense. But yeah, man, on a lighter note, yeah, I'm ready. All right, so so I don't know if y'all seen
I'm ready.
I don't know if y'all seen the hottest joint out right now. This is possibly the greatest song
the
I've
dance
ever
move?
heard in my life.
I don't even know.
Do you understand what I'm telling you? Listen, my mans, I know him. You know what I'm saying? I know him a little bit. The dude from Power, his name is Zeke. Power Book 2. I feel like Power Book 2. His name is Zeke in the
that's why I don't
series,
know who he is,
right?
'cause I
But his real name
I don't support
is
I don't
Daniel
support 50 Cent no more.
Bellamy. Put the picture up. It's probably up.
So yeah, that's something else.
Daniel Bellamy is now an artist, actor, singer extraordinaire. And he has his lead single of his new album featuring Sada Baby called Ready. And it's actually the reason we have our...
It's not I'm ready, it's just ready.
It's the reason why we have our marquee up. Yeah, I'm ready.
Somebody just need to
I'm
put
ready,
that
I'm ready, I'm ready.
SpongeBob together.
No,
and
for
just
real.
fucking go ham, because it is
Perfect.
a SpongeBob parody if I've ever heard
Yo. If y'all can't tell by now, this shit is horrible. I'm gonna see if we can play it as we're talking about this, but we'll probably just cut towards it.
Sada's verse is dope.
Yeah.
Sada Baby goes crazy on. He's hard carry.
I hope this is not a big troll,
Bruh.
It can't be because he
This-
was grooving too hard in the club.
There's actually a video
No.
on Twitter of him dancing in the club. He gives his song, in I think 2 songs actually, to a local DJ, and he plays it, and everybody is still. Everyone is completely motionless as he's grooving away
I
and
feel
doing
like
this
he's
little
trolling.
shoulder thing.
I don't know
And
what
then,
he
like,
trolling me.
reverse Mary J.
Only when
Blige.
you dancing to your music,
Man.
just turn it off, bro.
It's crazy.
If
It's
anybody
horrible.
gonna support me, it's me. I'm ready. I'm be in there jamming.
Oh my
I
god.
don't care. Whatever.
So low.
Say what you want.
It's so bad.
I got a song
It's
and they
so
played
low.
it, baby.
It's so bad. But you know what isn't bad? Johnny P's Caddy by J. Cole and Benny the Butcher. Oh my lord. Talk about like fire and brimstone coming down as a man and speaking words in a song. That's what happened when J. Cole opened his mouth.
When I
Like-
seen that pop up on my
Music.
Benny and J. Cole. Like what?
What just happened?
What has occurred here?
I never thought I'd see the day. And he says Griselda. Oh my god. When he does the Griselda intro and then it's followed with the it's crazy. It's crazy. It's the most gangster shit I've heard in a long time.
If you ain't listen, you need to go ahead on and just
Do
do
that.
that. You know.
Do that right now. And come back.
like I'm
Don't do that.
Sorry. All right, go ahead.
But yeah, man, it was incredible. I'm waiting for Tana Talk 2. It's gonna be nuts. And whatever J. Cole is getting ready to release, I'm sure is going to be incredible because the last like 3 verses J. Cole has done outside of his main album, super high fire. Alright, yeah. So what else did y'all see this week?
We can talk about Wale.
Wale, that's my guy though, man.
It really is.
Wale is
That's
like
really
Stewie.
my guy.
Like he's not annoying as people like to call him. He's just misunderstood. If he got what he really needed, you know what I'm saying, got the recognition he deserves, he'd be a better person. I think everybody would like him. I think he'd be more pleasant. But because he be getting shitted on all the time, I feel like he's just like, well, fuck everybody.
I don't know if it's about accessibility, like, because he on Twitter all the time. He always interacting with fans. Like, you see other celebrities interacting with fans, but it's not, like, every person. Like, if somebody says something bad, people feel like Wale gonna respond, like, all right. Like,
But is that now Wale? I feel like that was old school Wale.
I don't know.
'Cause old school Wale, you find him on Howard's campus on
And
every
talking shit.
Friday.
Yeah.
He
Talking
was
shit.
always there.
That's true. I don't know. But he's dropping out of Broccoli City Fest.
He cites disrespect.
Those $400 tickets?
Well, he said that he never agreed to do it originally in the first place.
Oh, they just threw him on the flyer.
His peoples agreed to it without him knowing about it. And so now he's just correcting it like he never was going to do it because they never really show respect anyway in the beginning.
How you do an event in DC, a festival, and don't respect Wale? First of all, why isn't half like the headline like go-go
said-
artists?
I mean, because what has Wale done for me?
But
lately?
he said that they never
Falarin
reached
was
out
dope.
to
The
him
last
ever.
Falarin album was crazy.
You never reached out to Wale at all. He had to reach out to you, and
Yeah,
then
that's
you
wild.
didn't.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then you didn't even like respond or reply, or that's wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's wild.
Yeah.
That part, the respect factor, I 100% get it. That's wild.
Yeah, I
But-
pull out too.
Yeah, I mean, if you ain't gonna give me the respect to say, hey, I want you.
Like,
to
what
do
if I had
this,
shit to do that
I
day?
go on my-
Like, what if I had plans? Like, I need to go to Nobu, and this niggas want me to fucking perform. Yeah, okay.
I get why he decided to do that, but everybody is saying he's throwing tantrums because he usually addresses it.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody gonna say something, he gonna address it.
I think Wale is hypersensitive, and I don't mean sensitive in like the negative way that people like to call people sensitive to be, assholes.
Yeah.
I think he's like actually sensitive because he cares about his shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he puts a lot of work into a lot of his albums.
Sensitive
First of
about
all,
my
that
shit.
that Wale verse on the fucking West Side Gun project. I think it was Pray for Paris off of that project, and I think the joint was called like Fashion Week or something. I can't remember. But the only Wale feature on that album was fucking incredible. Like it felt like Diary Wale all over again, and I was like, well, he's able to tap still into this. If he's able to do that, I know he can put out some really high quality work. And the last Florin album told me that, you know, because he's been pretty consistent. I mean, even if it's not super high charting, you know, records, it's still like Wale talking that shit, and he has never stopped talking that shit.
For any of his music?
I'm not sure.
Because a good amount of his songs are like considered classics to people. He pushed "Sue Me" all the time, which I think is a quality song.
College, you couldn't tell me shit about Wale. I'm fucking Wale, though. Every single day.
Gonna let me for my ambitions.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. He has. I think he does deserve a little more respect.
With that shit. Like you niggas ain't heard of Wale.
You niggas ain't heard of Wale.
Like,
you ain't heard of Whale. Shit.
Wait,
man.
are you saying you went to DC to tell DC people about?
He said he went to Arizona.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed that because I was about to say,
Arizona,
they wasn't hip to the Wale in the zone.
Man,
of course not.
In the zone.
They would sleep on Wale, bro. I had to put
Shout out Zone Lacito if you still out
Shout
there.
out to Demonta for putting that.
That is fucking hilarious. Shout out Zone Lacito if you still out there.
If he still go by Zone Lacito, he might be like a preacher.
And if you know
what
who
I'm
we
saying?
talk about, just hit that comment once.
Hit that comment. If you don't, you can Google Zone Lacito.
Juice.
Probably on YouTube. I don't know. Yeah, man, it's been a lot going on this week, and I seen something like a couple of days ago. It was like a little promo for the Emmett Till movie, the Emmett Till film. This was come out this year, and I'm excited. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like they're really getting like the history right. Like the thing that I always have criticism for in all these movies about Harriet Tubman and MLK and all types of shit is that like, one, tell the right story. Like tell the true story. Like
That's
we need
important here.
These important details of these true stories.
And telling the story, bruh.
And that's just the beginning. That's like before we even get on set.
Right.
Write the correct story. You know what I mean? Like that's number one. Number two, hire people who are like I don't know, close to the road. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I feel like for historical films, other than a lot of them, I feel like it's much more important to like highlight people who are very close to the issue. You know, and say if you're doing a movie about Tulsa, like have the families of people who are actually in Tulsa playing the background be, you know, people. Because like that's the closest you can get, you know, to like the actual individuals who like dealt with it.
You are mistaken
like, you know,
if you think they don't know their family story and history. You
know what I'm saying?
They know it. They
like,
live
bro,
it. You need them in the room.
And you know, I feel like they're doing it right for this one.
Who's doing it?
So the cast for the Till 2022 drama film is Danielle Deadweiler, who is Mamie Till. Emmett Till is played by Jalen Hall. Marley Evers is played by Jamie Lawson. Whoopi Goldberg is actually in this film too, who we just mentioned, who plays Alma Carthen. Sean Patrick Thomas, the guy, the white sounding black guy from Barbershop, is playing Jean Mobley. And I think the white woman, who's the only white woman I see in this cast list, is most likely the white woman who is the white woman who kind of brought the entire onslaught of violence on, you know, Emmett Till falsely, which we now know that she lied about all the shit and she actually admitted to lying, but we knew she was lying. You know what I'm saying? We always knew. You know what I mean? But Haley Bennett's playing that woman who doesn't say her name because I wouldn't have said it anyway. And I'm excited. You know what I mean? I feel like it's going to be a great opportunity to really shed some like important details about like his story, his family, how they were affected, because often we talk about like him dying this brutal, gruesome death and his mom. We don't even know what that did to the rest of his family. You know, like we have no clue. We don't know like what he had probably had friends, like what did that do to his friends or his neighborhood? You know what I mean? Like what if this was close to home and now everybody knows that the young little boy was just killed and lynched and dragged and all types of brutalization. Imagine what fear that struck in everybody else.
The story is told from the perspective of his moms, right?
I think so, if I'm not mistaken. I think it might be based off her memoir and like interviews and stuff. I didn't see much about it. I'm waiting for more like information to drop about the film.
They don't have like a release date or nothing like that.
It says 2022.
It's October 7th.
October 7th. Yeah, man. Orion Pictures. Y'all better do this shit right, cause I will boycott this shit if it's wrong. Shout out Harriet.
Yeah.
And it's, I ain't even gonna get into that. Never mind. I ain't even gonna get into that. But yeah, definitely looking for that Till movie. That kind of makes me think about this podcast that I kind of came across recently. It's called After the Uprising, the story of Danye Dion Jones. And it was about him, who was also a black man in America who was lynched by, we can only guess who. They still haven't really caught whoever is really truly responsible. He was deemed a suicide. I think it's so often in America, do we see, or where we see, the devaluation of black life. And it does not matter how they went out, how they died. It does not matter what anybody did to them or how their bodies are left out, you know, just in the middle of the street or wherever. None of that matters. The humanity, the basic humanity of like black people are just, you know, just nothing to many in America. And I think the Danye Dion Jones case was a very, very specific highlight of that. Like many other situations we've seen, you know, where like black people have either been killed by white terrorist actors or white supremacists or killed by the police. You could say that's one and the same. And then left to be just laying there in their blood, gasping for air or, you know, needing medical attention, but nobody cares. What is you guys' thoughts, just in general, about like situations we've seen over time?
Honestly, it reminds me of the documentary you watched, The People versus KKK.
Yeah, the People versus the Klan or KKK. Or
yeah, the Klan or something like that.
Or Michael Donald.
It all stems from the fact that I'm going to do this because I know I can get away with it.
Yeah.
I know that nobody's going to like do anything about it. I have I have the people backing me. Like,
yeah.
It's just, it's sad that these people time and time again show us that they don't care.
And then when we try to call them on it, or when anybody tries to call them on it, they give us bullshit answers or bullshit reasons that don't even make sense.
Yeah.
Like, a man was lynched and you said it was a suicide. Like, how do those two things?
A black man was hanging.
How does that even compute?
But
like,
with a fitted bedsheet. We're talking about Danye Jones here. He was literally hung with a fitted bedsheet. First of all, if you ever try to put a fitted bedsheet on a bed, you already know how difficult that is.
Like
Number
what?
one. Number two, try to fold a fitted bedsheet. It's even harder. So to tie it in knots, they describe them as Navy knots. They describe them as like knots only known by people who have went to like the armed forces, who had to like actually do these sorts of, you know, knots that actually they get tighter when you pull them. Like that's a mechanic of like tying it a certain way. And it's that skill that like made it really fishy. And they didn't like do the evidence on the sheet, you know, even though it was tied perfectly. And they said that it was impossible for him to have tied it himself based on like not experts. You know, they had to get that deep into it because like the police did not do their job, you know. And then we talk about like Michael Donald in The People versus KKK in 1981, I think it was. He was literally hung in his front yard. I think the racist front yard.
Yeah.
Like literally in
right.
the front yard, he's hung. Like, yo, it's absolutely nuts. But that's time and time again, we see these situations where like it just don't really care about our lives. You know, then you think about the woman who was at that sleepover, that black woman at the sleepover, like 5 other white women, and then she just like mysteriously died.
Right.
And shit, talking about she had Xanax and weed in her system and shit. That's crazy because like white women pop Xanax all the time and white women smoke weed all the time. A lot of people smoke weed. There's entire states that are weed puffers and shit. Yeah. And I think they tried to use that as in a way to saying, oh well, she got woozy and fell off the balcony. She got fucking pushed off the balcony. Ain't no weed and Xanax going. You know what I'm saying?
Like, come on,
bruh, come on.
It's
and,
like
you know,
the things that they say. It's just like, are we dumb?
Yeah.
Tamala Horsford, I think her name is. Yeah, Tamala Horsford.
Am I dumb?
Just believe
like,
it. Just,
it's
in
it's
addition
crazy.
to not caring about our lives, you're going to insult our intelligence as well. Like, come on, yo.
And you know, it's crazy because it's like I feel like they do think that we're stupid because when you look at like the Durante Martin case, he's at a party at a house where there's a known racist that lives there and everybody in the community knows he's a racist, and he's with 2 other white kids that play football with him, and then he just gets shot in the fucking head. Like, how does that not, like, I'm confused here. And the thing is, if that was a black person or black like incident where it was all black people involved, It don't matter who did it. We ain't got to do that much research. Everybody in here going to jail. Every one of y'all motherfuckers going. Even if we don't find a nigga who did it, every one of y'all going to be in jail. Y'all going to sit there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why isn't that the same sort of standard everywhere else? Like, why isn't everybody going to jail until we figure this out? It's like, no, everybody's going to still be at home working their job and still getting paid. And then, oh, by the way, we forgot about it. And it never happens. They never go to trial. And then we're back to square one again. It's nuts, how you can tell me something so stupid and just expect me to believe it. You get to, was it Peter Stewart, who recently just got killed? He's at a coworker's house, white coworkers, and he's there, and all of a sudden, he's getting shot 9 times. And then the coworker who shot him, white dude, admitted to doing it to the police, and this nigga walked free. He's in the fucking front yard with 9 bullet holes in him. He's walk free. Like, I'm confused here. Whether it's somebody that you work with, whether it's a friend, an associate, somebody you've seen at a party somewhere, it doesn't matter. A police officer, anybody white has the opportunity to just kill you with just complete impunity. Just 100% no responsibility at all.
Not a suspect because you a nice guy type shit.
How do we live in that America and nobody's like pissed off? Like... Like, how can you be Candace Owens in this moment? Like, you know what I'm saying? How do you compartmentalize that like, right. Oh no, but it's fine. How is it still fine? It's like you're the dog in the house with the flame meme and shit. Like, this is fine. The house is on fire. Literally on fire. Like, how do you do that? It doesn't make any sense to me. But I'll say that we do need to highlight all, like we're doing now, having these conversations about these cases and letting them stay alive as long as we can, because these families got to deal with that. We only see it as a hashtag, or like we only see it as a story that's really unfortunate. Like, these people lost sons, daughters, moms, dads. The shit is like way deeper for them than it is for us. Right. So we have to have these conversations where we keep bringing it up. And one of the things I love that I seen recently was Don Cheadle, who was like putting a lot of these stories, on Front Street. And specifically, he's co-producing, I think he's executive co-producing a series that's about the origins of Black Lives Matter and like the protests in Ferguson and how all of this kicked off. And I think there's a really good opportunity there with being able to really tell the unfiltered, unadulterated stories of what happened that led this movement to like galvanize millions of people out of nowhere. There was an energy that everybody knew. Like, we live in this America and it's time to do something about it. And I think a lot of people woke up, but a lot of people were saying this for a long time. And we just now happen to get this coalition of not just black people, but like white people, and whether they're on our side or not, whatever. It made this larger kind of group kind of blossom and bloom into what we now know as Black Lives Matter. The organization kind of went left, especially with like Patrisse Cullors and Alicia Garza, because man, they is
stop stealing everything.
That's all that white guilt. Like, I think all that money came from all that white guilt. White billionaires, white millionaires, like, did racist shit their whole life, and some of them that like still doing racist shit, but every time they like do it, I'm gonna just donate to Black Lives Matter, and I'm just like, it's like praying for repentance. Like, you know what I'm saying? Thank you, Jesus. Hail Mary, Hail Mary, Hail Mary. I'm good. It's like that Hail Marys is 20,000, 20,000, 20,000. Like, like, you know what I'm saying? And they, it absolves them in their minds of any responsibility to racism. But I think the Don Cheadle series is based off of They Can't Kill Us All. I think the name is the production. It's based on a book written by Wesley Lowery. And Wesley Lowery was actually like he's a black guy who was a journalist around the time of Black Lives Matter. He was kind of like really active in Ferguson. He went to like Baltimore and then went to a few other places. I got one question though. Do you think they will highlight all of the Ferguson activists that died? Specifically people like Darren Sills, who was the most critical about y'all new niggas stealing the energy of us protesting these people and these cops for people who died right here in our community. And, you kind of hijacked it and left. And then shortly after that, he's found shot and burned in his car. Yeah. Like many other activists, by the way.
I feel like it'll be difficult to tell because it's a sad event that these people lost their lives in the end, yeah. But I feel like it's important for you to tell it. And if you're going to do it accurately, you have to include that. That's a major part of it. In my opinion, it's required.
just like we were talking about with the Emmett Till, it's like tell the full story.
Yeah.
Tell everything that happened. Tell everything that's happened. Similar to T-Pain made comments about Black History Month. Yeah. Tell the entire history. Include everything in it.
Everything.
So if you're going to tell the story, then I think it's pivotal that you do include those things. At least touch on them.
Yeah,
make sure that people know that this happened.
Right.
That this man stood for something. That these people stood for something.
Yeah.
And because they stood for that, their lives were taken from them.
Yeah, and that's a lot of activists in Ferguson still believe, and rightly so, that the police are behind a lot of these murders. Because it was all intimidation tactics right after Ferguson. Which brings me right back to that podcast I was talking about after the uprising. Because that death, Donye Jones, was the son of a Ferguson activist. Which makes this even more interesting of how he just mysteriously died. And he was never suicidal, by the way. And often through the podcast, I hear them saying that the police would often stop them for whatever, harass them for whatever. And then they'll say little small things like, choose your enemies wisely. You may be playing a very deadly game. Pick your battles. Like little shit like that. That they would just kind of say to you. That is terrifying. And the thing is, just like the hashtag, we'll see something for about a month, a week, whatever. And then we can kind of just live our whatever other lives. But these people have to deal with it 24/7. Like, they live with these people. Like, around them at all times. And it's always on site. At any point, you could be shot and burned in your car. And that's like a level of trauma, a level of like stress that I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
What most people don't like accept is that the most deadly and organized gang in American history
Police.
is the police. Are the police? Excuse me. Are the police?
Are the police?
Because they have much more access to you, to your information, to your family, to everything. They can literally get to you whenever they want to.
At any time.
Not only that, I can plant drugs on you and then shoot you, and then say you did
reach
some
for my
shit.
gun.
Yeah,
Exactly. and they can get you in so many different ways.
So many
like,
ways.
Fuck politicians.
Yeah.
Fuck all of that. Like it's them on the ground. They're
Yeah,
on the ground
literally.
working. Them the foot soldiers.
Exactly.
And they can do whatever. It doesn't matter.
Enforcers. Yeah,
Look,
slave
it reminds
patrollers.
me a little bit of the last OG. Like, this nigga was doing good in his life. A police
Shout out
officer.
to Last OG. That's a great show.
Yeah, I really like that show. He took his
out Tracy
information to his landlord or his employer and got him fired, lost his house, just hating stuff for no reason. Like, and I'm 100% sure they do that every day to many people.
Yeah.
Just
Think
little
about it
stuff,
when
just for
you're,
nothing.
just in your neighborhood, and you see that same police officer always around, always messing with folks, always nitpicking, always trying to do this. Why? He planted himself into that area so that whenever he needs to or whenever he's able to, he can get to whoever he needs to get to
At any time.
because he knows the area. Now he knows the people, and he already done fucked over half the families in the neighborhood.
Yep.
So y'all already scared.
Yeah.
Y'all already got ambivalence working against you. That's all they need.
That's all they need.
That's all they need. And then they keep you in that space of fear.
Yeah.
It's fear mongering.
And what does that do over time? Like this epigenetics is so important. Like, we need to understand like what this stress is doing to our bodies, like our minds, and then what we're passing down generationally. Like they're almost devaluing, like they're literally devaluing life because we're giving to our later generations something that is like beaten and bruised. That is evil as fuck. Like, to think about it, this was all, intentional. Like, everything that was done was intentional. So the result of that is absolutely intentional, which makes the result as evil as the action itself. And I think that we got to start thinking about it in that way of like, even if people are like white people are like living in a system where like they're not intentionally kind of pushing the train, it's already a system going. Like, if you're not against kind of these institutions in place that are built to destroy us, then you're a part of the system. Like, you're a part of the machine. And that machine is killing me. Hello. I think that's so important. We got to bring that up much more often. And this is my last point on Missouri and Ferguson. I seen, there was this tweet I had seen. There was this woman who's running for Congress, and she actually brought up this bill called Senate Bill 666, for everybody that's Christian out there. I'm sorry. But that's actually the bill. Like, it's a real thing. And I want you to look it up because it effectively makes lynching black men, it's just free. It's a free-for-all. people can do it with impunity with the legislation that's in this Senate bill. So we will kind of be putting something up, and we'll also be linking something in the comments, so you can also kind of get to that tweet and get to that information. Especially if you live in Missouri, I'm definitely trying to get this information to you first, because this is very important, extremely.
Motherfuckers is sick.
As fuck.
Trying to get us up out of here, man. They've been trying.
It's heavy.
For sure.
All right. I think it's time for us to get into this album review. This time for Shay Noir, Food for Thought. Man,
I gotta get light because she from New York.
Is she from New York?
Upstate. Yeah.
Upstate ain't. I don't. They like a whole different state. They're like a whole different state. Like,
I ain't from New York.
like
Buffalo,
Rochester,
New York,
Buffalo, Niagara Falls. Like, that's like a whole different. Like, that's a.
Shout out Bucci.
Shout out Bucci. Shout out Griselda. Man, it's this album. What can I say? What can't I say, honestly? Because like I recommended this album because Shay Noir from Buffalo.
New York.
Shay Noir is possibly, one of the more underrated female artists that I've been listening to recently. Not really recently. I've been on her for a little while. But I think it's important that we highlight some people who are like actually spitting, like people who are like respecting the craft of hip hop, respecting the craft of rap, who actually take lyrics very seriously, and who is in the minority of like the group, like women. So like definitely I want to push up black women in this space, but also like push up black women who are like actually fucking extremely talented at their job. And she actually talked about it slightly on the album where she kind of like quit her job just to do like music 100%. I think I'm not gonna say it's the right decision to quit your job. Don't quit your job. But I think it was the right decision to follow what she believed, she could make happen.
Yeah.
And she had a plan. She said, I'm gonna do that shit, and I gotta double down. I gotta figure it out, make it work, for me. And she did that shit.
Yeah.
And Food for Thought is here because of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm actually glad that you recommended this album.
You like?
When you recommended it, I was like,
I tell you like that.
y'all probably saw my face in the last podcast.
Oh,
I
God.
Was like, Jake, why? That's what we doing. That's what we doing now. But I'm glad I listened.
He just wanted to do a Chris Brown album.
Right, like
it ain't came out yet, so how can we do it? I'm confused.
give me that.
Nigga trying to review the track list that ain't even show yet. Let's review the gray, the track 1, track 2.
What to expect with yours. But no, I genuinely appreciate this album because just for all the reasons that you just said, it was getting back to the basics of hip hop. Mm-hmm. It was a female rapper spitting. She ain't got to talk about her body, what dude she smashed, and none of that. You feel me? She came from the dome, a space of intellect, a space of purity, a space of expression, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, she definitely went crazy for sure.
She did.
For sure.
I enjoyed this.
All right, so overall, what would you say your guys' standout tracks is? So you could do, let's say it's 12 songs, I think? Mm-hmm. Let's do 4, your top 4, Mount Rushmore.
Alrighty.
Rushy.
I'm going to give you 5.
4.
5.
4.
5.
What's the honorable mention? That's the 5th one.
Alright, I'll do that one as honorable.
That gotta be the worst one though, so you know.
It gotta be the worst one. I don't know.
Because if it's the best one, it gotta make it top 4.
Man, somebody else go first.
This is what I'm talking about, man. This
is
what I'm talking about, man. It's crazy.
Top 4. Ladies Brunch.
Okay.
Table for 3.
Mm-hmm.
Communion.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna go Brains for Dinner. It's a toss up between Brains for Dinner and Praises.
Okay. I'm going Split the Bread.
Mm-hmm.
Eat or Starve.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies Brunch.
Mm-hmm.
Table for 3.
All right, so
Honorable mentions is Gold Cutlery.
All right, so I'm going to say Eat or Starve, number 1. Number 2, Ladies Brunch. Number 3, Gold Cutlery. And number 4 is Communion. I know everybody's screaming at me like, too. Damn, what about Ransom? What about 38 Special?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You ain't fuck with Table for 3?
But let me tell you about this said Gold Cutlery. Whoo, boy, that shit is fire. Oh, my God. But we'll go in order.
It would have been on my 5, but somebody said I had to do 4.
We'll go through it simply and softly before we get into the hard shit at the end. Because the intro was very nice. I like the intro.
The intro definitely set up the
Yeah, it did.
It told me exactly what I was
literally,
gonna get.
quite
and,
literally.
So that's what the intro should do. Just like Old Friend, I feel like it should give you an overview of what's about to take place in this album. And she did a great job. I
get that hunger.
The intro was so good.
You know what I'm saying? The determination, all that, just from she already told us.
Shout out to Cartoon Beats.
In my head. And I was like,
So
all right, I'm ready for it.
she produced most of the songs on there. So she produced Eat or Starve, Daily Bread, Bless the Food.
Yeah, all of them are themed.
Yeah, mess me up. Ladies Brunch, Table for Three, Gold Cutlery, and Communion.
All food related.
Yeah.
I like the fact that she paid attention to that. Like, I like the fact that she paid attention to, like the titling went along with, like, the overall theme of the album. Even though it had nothing to actually do with food. It's like, you know, she's still kind of playing with these ideas to, like, you know, make metaphors that could mean one way or the other. But I think I like the attention to detail. So we get to Eat to Live, the first one. That's the intro to Moving In. Shout out to Cartoon Beats, who also produced Smoke Me Out by Bryson Tiller, one of my favorite Bryson Tiller joints. If you actually don't know what Smoke Me Out by Bryson Tiller is, you should probably look that up. We giving you all types of recommendations today.
Music,
you know.
Got you. Need to. You know what I'm saying? And I like how she, you know, mentions that, you know, she connects mentally, you know. And I think it feels almost cliche to say it nowadays, because, like, oh, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not on the physical. I'm like, oh, I'm all mental, it's all energies. You know what I mean? When I first heard it, I'm not going to lie, I was like, damn.
Honestly,
fake deep shit.
I was like,
but I didn't know.
I felt the same, though.
I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, like, you know what I mean?
I was like, okay, it's decent enough.
Because people get
like,
in that point in their career where they start, like, trying to philosophize shit to you and shit, whatever that word is.
Yeah.
Are you a Googleizer?
I feel like that's something Brown would say. Mr. Brown.
You philosophize.
Philosophizing.
I feel like he definitely said that. I'm just...
But no, for sure, like, you know, I feel like people love to be in their energies bag nowadays, you know what I'm saying? They know every zodiac.
All right, why you always gotta go there? You always gotta go
What's
that
my
route.
rising moon? Tell me.
I told you.
I have no clue what my rising moon
'Cause
is.
you
Is that a
forgot.
real thing? Is it rising moon, son?
I don't know.
It's rising sun.
Rising sun.
It's rising sun.
Yeah, the moon fall. Falling moon, rising sun.
We good at this shit.
I'm telling you.
I'm telling
You don't know
you.
something.
Listen. All right. So, yeah, we go to Split the Bread.
All right.
Produced by Tricky Trips. You know what I'm saying? My favorite part of that joint where she said, "YEAHH told us Jesus walks. I need a speed demon." I love that line. That was a cool little line, because I feel like there are certain joints that are like low hanging fruit. I feel like there are many topics and conversations that you can put in rap that are low hanging fruit, but people can make them easily not low hanging when you creatively are able to kind of put a bar around it that, you know, really changes my perspective on it. You know, she talks to, like, you know, Jesus walks, and the point of her life, she needs kind of like fast results, which kind of tells me a lot early on in the album about, like, her hunger towards getting to success. You know, and it's almost like I can't really wait anymore.
Right.
You know, like I've done a thing, tried auditing jobs here or there.
Right.
I've been,
I need to quit that shit and get focused.
You know what I'm saying? Like, something needs to change. You know, there needs to be like a shift gear. It was interesting. It was very, very clever.
For me, it's bitch, I rap better than these niggas. Do not compare me. These bars give you food for thought. Shit like commissary.
Talk to him.
It speaks for itself. Like you said, it could be simple, but it's like how you say it. Like, you could just sprinkle a little razzle dazzle on it.
Sprinkle a little razzle dazzle.
And then when you talk about, like, consistency, like, throughout the album, the intro told us, you know, I'm on some intellectual shit.
Yeah.
And then the first line that she comes out is, "I'm too woke for sleepy niggas." Like,
Just letting you know.
I'm letting you know.
Yeah,
Intros
man.
are important.
They are.
These intros to the songs is important. Like, that first bar gonna tell you a lot. You know what I mean? Man. Yeah, and then so we move to the next joint, Eat or Starve, which was produced by Shay Noir. My favorite joints are produced by her.
They are.
You know, that's crazy because she's mean on the MPC, low key. And I like the joint. They say penny for your thoughts, but I'm giving nickels and dimes. Wisdom bold when you old, but I sold it for the Fisher price. And I love that she's getting introspective now, because that was a clever bar of saying, like, I kind of turned away from, like, people trying to give me game early. I wanted to do it on my own, you know, and I think that's the reference to the Fisher Price. Like, I'd rather, you know, play and do my own shit than, like, worry about whatever advice you could possibly give me. And I think sometimes that might hinder your success of, like, being kind of closed off to criticism or constructive kind of advice. But I think she knew she had something early. You know, I think she knew my shit hit just different than everybody else's for some reason. You know, I think she mentions like everything I wrote was a bar, and that's when you're great, you know early.
Yeah, for
you know?
me,
When
that's
you
what
great,
I
you
like.
understand.
Like, I feel like if you're finna come on here and spit that shit, then you just better do that, and you better tell me how good you are and that you are the best to ever do it. I just feel like that's the only way to go, because that's what I would do.
Yeah, and I did like a little bit of background research on her, and apparently she was taught how to produce from one of her friends, maybe like 5 years ago. Not too long.
That's
ago. You feel me? And for her to like push that through, and now to be producing, you know, most of the joints on her own album. Yeah. For her to, you feel me, take the advice and take the techniques that she learned from, you know, the production of her last 2 joints. Yeah. And then apply that to this. It just shows you, like, crazy. I'm hungry for it. I'm
on the way.
Move out my way, please.
Yeah.
What other female artists are rapping and producing their shit?
I don't know.
Is Doja Cat producing?
Probably not.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I know she in the studio. She in that. I mean, in the, you know, not in the booth. Like, she's near the switches.
In the works, yeah. The works.
Near the switches.
She flipping something. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like Nicki probably got some hands in it.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably. She can tell you what she want.
She's been in it for this
she
long.
know what she want.
She probably should know something at this point.
She had like a whole like radio kind of like, you know, like a whole.
Does she still have that?
I'm not sure. I know she has some multimedia kind of
Queen
situations.
Radio? What the hell was it called?
Queen Radio?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Right.
Yeah. That shit was, never mind. That shit was crazy.
Let's not even mess with the barbs. Let's go ahead on.
Man, that was, sparks was flying every other day. Like,
her and Kevin Samuels going on, so we don't want to add.
Yeah, that's
But before we get off this song, I do gotta focus on my guy Jinx because Lordy, this man he just went off. Like, he just lost his mind on this joint. Like, and I didn't know who he was. I had to do my own research after I listened to this, cause I was like, I need to know who this guy is. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's from Niagara Falls. You know what I'm saying? Super hungry guy. I had to go back and listen to his other joint he dropped in 2020. I can't even remember the name of the joint, but I'll put it up here somewhere. That could possibly have been a really, really great album. Could have charted, I think. It could have been a really solid, like almost how Stove God Cook's Reasonable Drought was. Like, it was a really, really good, solid project from a guy we haven't heard of, and then that was enough to kind of put him in mainstream eyes. I think he tried to do a little bit of the Drake singy-songy thing, which didn't necessarily work for me on a couple of the joints, and then he kind of got into his bag where he talking about women and I love you and whatever. I ain't really like it, but other than those joints, that album was fucking solid. So I see why Shay Noir, who was also featured on that album, I can see why she was like, no, I need this nigga to hop on because this nigga's hungry. From Niagara Falls, and I don't know literally anybody from Niagara Falls. I didn't know they called the city Niagara Falls. Like, outside of the falls, I didn't know niggas called like the city like Niagara Falls. That's crazy. Shout out to upstate New York. It's a whole different city, bro. I'm trying a whole different state. Like, bro.
I want to shout out when I was up here jigging.
Yeah,
like Zeke.
About that.
Wow.
Nah.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Hey, yo.
All right, what's your lines you pulled out from the song for him?
For him, yeah. I did the slide through the city, they looking. I know it's something to see. Honest with hoes, I just tell them you don't want nothing with me.
That's literally what I have also. So
she asked me about what number is she. I'm from Niagara Falls, where I hope they don't give up on a dream. I might get the key to the city and give it to a fiend.
Also, I like that. See the way y'all move, and I can't help but think it's ass backwards.
Oh my God. First of all, hold on.
It is very ass backwards.
I cut the song in. I wish I could cut the song in. Because this nigga got one of the hardest fucking lines on his song called Blitzkrieg.
I just want to say the fact that we all pulled out the same fucking line.
It's nuts. Because that all stopped us. And like, yo. But he has this crazy line on his song called Blitzkrieg on his previous album. And he does this whole stanza about the drug house talk. And he like brings in like, I don't even want to spoil it. His mind is different. His mind is different. Moving on to the next joint, which was a skit. It's called Daily Bread, which featured like kids praying. Don't like the, you know, daily grace, you know, saying grace. And this kind of brought in like heavier themes of like religion. And I can tell that like she grew up in church and like she was kind of around like church like a lot in her life. And this, I think it's interesting to see like her perspective on, which we'll see a little bit later in Communion, but like see her perspective of like, you know, how religion plays a part in like how she's viewing her life struggle. Yeah. Like it could hinder it, it could help it, but it's how she's kind of using her trauma to like express herself, and then to use religion to like be almost the backbone of like this story, you know. And she intros the skit, and it's almost like, you know, it's super on brand because like doing the grace and it's food for thought.
Also, I think like that structure that she puts into this album is like, you can clearly tell that homegirl was doing her research, bro. Like,
yeah, for sure.
She was listening to albums, listen to the structure, seeing how you know, old school artists put their shit together. Yeah, she mimicked that, and she did it fantastic.
For sure. You go to. Oh, go
well, I was gonna say, what line you pull out of that one?
Oh, it's a prayer.
Skit, yeah.
Oh, I skipped that. No, I didn't. No, I'm not saying. Yeah, I skipped that in my mind because it was a skit. But yeah, sorry, my bad.
But yeah, I pulled from it that, at least from that skit, I had pulled that, you know, she's thankful. You know, she's thankful for where she is, and this is like her moment to like say thank you. And if we're referencing the thoughts and not the food in terms of food for thought, then it's almost like she's almost thankful for her career. She's thankful for the gift of lyricism, you know, and what she's now going to properly intro the next song, which, you know, it's like, thank you, Jesus, for doing this for me, because look what I have in my pocket. It is the next joint, which is called fucking Ladies Brunch, featuring Love the Genius and Armani Caesar. Griselda has stepped into the chat. Man, Jesus Christ. First of all, Love the Genius.
Clinic that was going on.
Ooh, I feel like that's all her joints. Like, Love the Genius, from Drumworks, signed by Conway the Machine. That's his label. And Armani Caesar signed to Griselda, aka the first lady of Griselda. Westside Gunn, I'm assuming, gave her the crown, because he's like mastermind behind.
I don't know
Griselda.
if we said, but Shay Noir is signed to TCF Music.
TCF Music.
Yeah.
I think it's her indie
TCF?
label.
Oh, she's indie.
Yeah. I thought she was with Mello.
No.
Mello Music Group.
No.
I think I read that. I thought I read that somewhere. Maybe I'm
It
wrong.
says TCF Music.
It's actually interesting because she kind of sounds like Joel on a couple of these joints, and who is absolutely a part of Mello Music Group, which is crazy, but neither here nor there.
We didn't skip 5.
We didn't skip 5.
Bless the Food.
We did skip Bless the Food.
Oh, we skipped.
Because there's a skit, and then there's Bless the Food.
Oh, never mind. Bless the Food by Shay Noir was produced by Shay Noir. Man, fuck friends, I need more shooters. My losses turned me to a sore loser cut from a different cloth. You a poor booster.
Listen, I pulled never trust a team member that always agree with you, or a grown ass woman trying to beef with you. 40 plus.
Talk to him.
That the 40
she just
plus.
be shitting on people.
I don't know why I related to that, but if you is 40 plus trying to be a street nigga, give it up. It's not for you. Don't do that.
For sure.
Just stop, please.
For sure.
Line I resonated with was responsibilities placed on us. We was only 12, missing school to babysit your siblings, doing ponytails.
Yeah, that.
Like,
she's telling you a lot about her life.
Yeah.
You know, like early on.
This is what made me. This is what.
Yeah.
This is my foundation that enabled me to have this thought process that's able to spit to you niggas like this.
I got dreams and visions, my passion porn, but it's tricky when your ambitions don't match your focus. She's literally telling you everything.
She's going crazy.
Like,
she's dancing on
telling
this.
you about
She's
just
dancing
telling you
around
what's
these
going
bars.
And then she's getting reaching out to women who like been in this same these same circumstances. You feel me? And telling them like, it's okay, you can think about shit.
Right.
You feel me? You don't have to talk about your body. You don't have to do all these things in order to be successful. I'm doing it.
Yes,
I mean, she's in good company too. Like she's like her, Rhapsody, Love the Genius. Who else is there? There's a couple joints. Jean Grey.
You said Armani Caesar already?
Armani Caesar, of course, who we'll also get to later. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are out here who are actually spit like LaKaylee 47, Tierra Whack, you know, like there's a bunch of people who are women, black women in hip hop, who are like really spitting that shit, like talking that shit, and they should get elevated more. That's why we're reviewing this album.
Yep.
Heart of a sinner with thoughts of a devil with God's complexion. Gee, sus, cry. It almost feels like, honestly, when I first listened to it, it felt like the same feeling I got when I heard Thanksgiving by Benny the Butcher. Like, that's how I felt when I heard this joint. Because it felt like this was the one joint where she had to sit you down and talk her shit. Like, she had to tell you something. Like, and that's what Thanksgiving felt like. Benny was like, yo, check this out.
Listen
you know what I mean? Like,
blessing the album, bro.
like, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna lead into this little blessing real quick. It was so good. But then I think this was a wonderful intro transition to ladies brunch. Bars are everywhere.
Really like
I can
this
say
song.
literally everything.
I'm going to go and listen to it all the time.
Yep, definitely download it.
Definitely download it. Y'all don't be keeping the albums we review.
Yeah, well, it's already down. Well,
I don't like 'em, then,
I
though.
have Apple Music. I don't know about
I'm not about to keep no music.
The
on my phone
Android
that
users.
I do not listen to. I'm sorry. I have way too much music already for me to have some shit on.
I
there.
have
I'm never
way
going to
too
listen
much music already, says no one ever. Okay.
ever in life.
That's true. There's
What?
too much music. You're right. You're right.
What
You're
is-
right.
okay, never
But
mind.
I don't want to have a bunch of shit on there that I don't listen to.
When I rap, it feel like followers of Moses when that water split.
I just
First of
feel
all-
like they ain't have to kill us.
God, like, first of all, I think the best verse on this joint was Love the Genius.
I
Not gonna
agree.
front. Not
That
gonna
shit
front.
was fire.
Even though it's like she has a 10, but everybody else got 9s. Like, it's like you only, I mean, it's not like nobody else's verse was bad, but it was like, yo, what she did, like, she parted the sea with this joint, like, literally in that first line. Like, and then, yo, like, oh my goodness.
and it's just her rap style, her flow.
right, yeah.
Like it just
Definitely Rhapsody is like the
nigga.
blueprint, honestly, though, for everybody, to be fair. Like, to be fair, Rhapsody been like out rapping everybody, including men and women. Like, you know, hey man, if it's like Young Thug being Young Thug for the first time and shit. It's like anybody who is up and coming will see Young Thug and be like, I gotta start going to Atlanta more. Like, you know what I mean? I gotta start doing a triplet more. It was like Rhapsody was like, yo, I can think super critically about these bars because like Jay is my idol. You know what I mean? If that's who I'm looking up to, imagine what my verse gonna sound like. That's putting pressure on everybody else. You know what I mean? And if you able to put pressure just by like Layla's Wisdom alone, you know, that album by Rhapsody was nuts. Like, put pressure on everybody. Like, nobody wanted to drop. Shout out to Love the Genius, because she's definitely, she took the advice, I guess, from her predecessors and like just fucking took it and made her own. Conway seen it early. She's been spitting. Like, she's been fucking spitting. Then you go to Armani Caesar's verse, You Don't Want No Smoke, with Manny I'm Petty. Mani I'm Petty. You know, I thought that was a little cool line because she's kind of representing like the girly kind of like super rapper. You know, like she's like, she don't care. Like she'll do the whole bar and bar you up. And that's the thing. She'll talk about things that are like only kind of traditionally female artists will talk about. But then she'll bar you up, you know. And that's really, like, nobody's really rapping like her, I don't think, you know, right now. And especially after the Liz, which really showed me she can rap, like, in a real intentional way. With, like, you know, all the joints, like Benny on that joint and then Westside on that joint. It's crazy.
I think that's what made this so good. Just the different flows, and they're just in their own, not necessarily own lane, but just how they come about it. It's just great.
It's crazy.
Armani's definitely giving me Foxy vibes. I was like, the fuck with this? It's Foxy back in the day. She was spitting.
You gotta take, you know what I'm saying, advice from your predecessors, man. Everything they do is like setting the stage for you to be next. I'm just saying. Yeah, then we go to the next joint called Praises, and this beat is so hard. Like, this beat is so hard. Produced by Chup, the producer. Yo, I feel like she sounded like Joelle on this. I feel like this is the joint she sounded like, that specific, that line about they don't understand my pain because they don't come from where I grew. That line, I was like, this is Joel Ortiz. Like, that's a line that not only he would say, but she sounded like him. It was eerie. Has she been rapping with this nigga? I mean, I think Joel might be from like Jersey. Ain't he from Jersey? Or from like upstate New York? He might be. I don't know. We'll fact check ourselves. But yeah, no, I thought that shit was nuts.
This song got, 2 takes from me? It was good.
Moving to Table for 3.
Which I think
Ooh, Ransom and 38 Special.
What's the first one?
Late Lunch.
Oh, okay, right. Do I agree?
Man, 38 Special and Ransom. I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't really like the song. Not even gonna lie to
but
you.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I'm
I'm gonna tell you why I didn't like this song. I'm not a Ransom fan.
That's fine.
Okay.
Like, all right, here's the thing. Right.
I think his flow sealed it
right.
for me.
I'm not sold on the idea of Ransom yet. People are almost giving Ransom like this, like he's the next up. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're putting him in conversations with Benny. Like, they put him in conversations with, like, niggas who are, like, I think rapping at levels so high that I can't even explain the skill level they're at. It's like the fucking Scanner and Dragon Ball Z break and shit. The shit is like, it's just off the charts and shit. You know what I'm saying? I can't even...
Did you not like it for that factor, or because you just actually didn't like his...
No, I didn't like this. I mean, it's not that I didn't like the song. I want to say that. I didn't care for the song as much as the others. I don't skip it. But I don't really enjoy this one as much as I do the other joints because of Ransom leaves me wanting after I hear a verse from him. 1. 38 Special, I think is very, like, I think 38 Special is actually a really great artist. Especially a lot of his earlier stuff. But I think his effort or his attempt on this song didn't quite save it enough for me. I think he would have had to have a fucking fireworks, like, boom, 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 boom verse and shit in order for me to have considered this to be one of my top songs. It's not one of my top songs. But Shay's verse, woof, Lord. But I feel like she knew she had to rap because who was on the song with her?
True. I think it was a good production for all of them. As far as like the order, the beat itself, everything. I felt it was solid. So I think I don't know if it's top 2, but I feel like it's a decent song. At least 3 or 4, you know what I'm saying?
I think the 3 different rap styles for me, like the different approaches, it gave me, it was like, it's like a full song. You know,
yeah.
When you listen to something and then just like you said, like for you, Ransom leaves you wanting more. That didn't happen for me. Like when I listened to the song, I was just like, yo, that was a complete all around just great fucking song.
Yeah, table for 3. But then it moves to my favorite joint on this album, Gold Cutlery, because man,
we know why.
Rome Streets. I already knew Rome Streets early on, like when I was listening to like the Noise Candy series, but like, man, does he, like, his voice is just so good for these sort of songs. Like, there it is. His voice is so great for these like boom pap, super rap heavy gritty type beats. And of course him and Shay are like fucking D Wade and LeBron and shit. Like they can just kind of go off each other and shit, which I love. I actually think Rome Streets got picked up by Griselda too, or he's like in the Griselda coalition and shit. Everybody's really kind of working together. In a circle. Everybody's working together. What did you guys think about this joint?
Yeah, I told y'all this was my honorable mention because you ain't giving me enough spaces, but I thought it was good.
You just want to say half the album? Half the album, my favorite song.
It's 12 songs. That's not half.
Almost, damn near.
Almost don't count.
It's literally one song off.
That don't matter. Then it ain't half.
It wasn't honestly, it wasn't on one of my favorites. It's not a song that I would like skip per se. But I mean, I just didn't appreciate it at the same level as I did like a.
Yeah, if you like a song the most, usually the song after it isn't as good. Yeah. You know.
I can agree with that.
Like what is it, TSU?
But I feel like there is a reason.
Drake joint, and then the joint right after that, it's just like nobody likes that fucking song.
Like, what is this?
Which is actually a good song out there, by the way. Yeah, Gold Cutlery goes crazy. I'm actually waiting for this new Rome Streets project because I know it's on the way. It's gonna be crazy. And the neck, goes beautifully into the next song, Brains for Dinner, produced by Shay Noir. At this point in the album, I just feel like I started telling myself, like, nobody's really rapping on the level that she's rapping at. Like, her contemporaries are, like, doing it sometimes, but, like, she's doing it this whole album. Like, she's keeping the bar really high. And that made me, like, reconsider, like, where I had the rating. Because I was like, I can't really rate this as almost, like, judging it against her peers. Because nobody else is doing this shit. It almost means, like, it's standing alone. Almost now. Because I could be like, oh, well, there's, like, Rhapsody albums. But, like, I'm comparing the old shit. Like, I'm doing, like, some, stuff like the Liz, like. This joint is, like, right now in your face. Heavy bars, like, no breaks. And that deserves a decent rating, I think, on my end, which you'll hear later. Yeah. So for Brains for Dinner, like, what did you guys think about the song overall?
I thought it was a quality song. All of them are quality, so I don't know what I'm really saying here. But like I said, I feel like the flow of the songs, that song going after Gold Color for me doesn't take away from the song. I still think it's pretty good. I think the order in which she did the songs also play a factor in my rating for it, which I think is, good.
I definitely like the song. I appreciate how she just keeping the intellect alive, man. Like in every that she produces and spits on, it's like she's like challenging herself to like do better, you know, every single time she gets there. So for me, with Brains for Dinner, now I blessed the food. You feel me? I put some people on I put some people at the table, and now y'all about to get me. Yeah, this is just all my raw, all whatever everything I've been going through, everything I've been thinking about. I'm hitting you with it now. Yeah, and that's why I appreciated it. I think it's one of my favorite songs with her by herself. Non-feature songs.
Yeah, definitely. That transitions to Water to Wine, produced by Cartoon Beats. And this is the skit. I actually really like this skit, and I'll put up the lyrics to it.
Okay, that's sample. What's that from?
The sample?
Yeah. Is that a sample?
I'm not sure. It probably is.
That's great. I love that. It's really good.
And it's like a guy. I'm not exactly sure where the guy that's speaking, like where that's from, but like he's kind of referencing like, well, he's really literally referencing a grape and like the skin of a grape and like the seed and like what it took to kind of blossom and then become wine, you know, and like the journey that it took from cultivating the seed up until producing this wine. And it's like, if you think about the seed in terms of like a life, you know, it's like all this work that it took for me to get to this place that created this beautiful kind of result. All of that, despite what people told you, despite what you heard, despite what you thought about yourself, despite anything, your lacking of ability, the thing that you made in the end was absolutely beautiful. It was this, you know, meaningful, valuable thing because of all the work and all the experience that you went through to get here. And I think that was the perfect way to get to communion, is Water to Wine, literally communion. Now, I actually like how all these songs are in order, kind of like in terms of the food, you know, it's like
that's what I said, like
fucking studying.
Yeah, for sure. Like brunch, and then, you know, it goes down to dinner, and then now it's communion at the end. And it's like a scene where like she's in a church, and there's like a pastor who is like you know, asking for people's testimony. It's like the part of the service, like, oh, tell me your testimony, you know, tell me what God has done for you.
The Lord of glory.
And Shay is actually was playing the preacher. Like she calls herself up, and she's named Miss Black. I think her name is. Yep. And Miss Black gets on the mic,
Sister Black. Yep.
And starts spazzing.
Like,
starts fucking spazzing.
All right now.
Right. And then gets reprimanded for cursing. And then I was like, oh, by the way, I got a little bit more. Goes back up there, spits a second verse, and starts spazzing again. I definitely like the line, scared to open up to my man, and all he doing is trying to love me. Used to spend the night with buddies, but scared to sleep because her brother keep coming in and in the room trying to touch me.
Yeah, I pulled that out too.
Scary to share these things. He embarrassed me as a fiend. Not ashamed to say I go to therapy every week. How introspective, how like personal, how vulnerable she's getting on these albums and on these songs where she's telling like the things that happened to her. Communion is like, and you know, it's like a testimony. It's like not communion is a testimony, but like this last song is like a testimony. Like, you know, around this communion, it's like we're like really bringing everything to the altar now. Like we're really putting it all out so we can like heal. Like it's about the traumatic things we went through. It's about dealing with them in real time, understanding that they happened, and we're stronger now because we went through them, you know, and all these things made me who I am. Like this amazing rapper, you know, is a culmination of all my experiences, including that thing that I don't want to talk about. I thought that was, and I thought it was a beautiful ending to the album. What did you guys think about the song?
When I first played the album, I mistakenly had it on shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so
always take the shuffle
off. The intro
off.
played first, right? And then Communion played right after it.
Oh, that sounds like a great
and
album.
I was just like, what the fuck is happening? like, what? Is this really what Lupe gave me to listen to? Like, oh, shit. And I got so excited for it until I realized, oh shit, this is the last song.
This is the last song.
Back and like get here again.
Yeah.
And when I got there again, I had the exact same feeling.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew I was like, oh yeah, she's
crazy.
Shit.
For real.
But that my all time favorite bars out of that joint. Losing my brother hurt so much that I cry in my sleep.
I
Waking
was
up out of my dreams every night in the scream, trying to find reasons, shedding tears, look like my eyes bleeding, mind reading can't even process the thoughts I think. So it's like that hurt, that pain, that all that trauma, the toll that it takes on you, and then the strength that it takes for you to get back to who you are and what you do and what you love, and then to be able to express that to people.
Yeah.
You feel me? It's just
She mentions her brother a few times in it, and a lot of the times where she says she like cries or feels hurt, it's in her sleep. Like she mentions that a few times. But yeah, like I was gonna pull that line out too, because you could just tell, like, just from the beginning when she first mentioned her brother, like it's followed her throughout the album. That, like you said, that hurt, that pain, and all the trauma that she's been through. You feel that, like, her whole intro about the connection that she feels is mental. It's like, it's not so much as a physical thing. Like, you feel it, and throughout her bars, like it's a perfect wrap up. I feel it's just well done.
Yeah. So, like the end of each of the albums we review, we want to give it a rating. Now, how we're going to rate it, like we always do, is from 1 to 3 is going to be trash as a rating, from 4 to 6 is going to be mid, and from 7 to 10 is going to be a vibe rating. So, out of those criteria, what would you guys rate this album?
I'm going to go, just judging the album off of the structure. Like I said, I appreciated it. She did her research. You feel me? She put everything in a way where it told a story. And it's sometimes in this day and age it's hard to do that, or a lot of people don't take the time to necessarily do that.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that. I appreciate the production value of the album, lyrical quality, all that. I'm gonna give it a solid 8.
What about you, Sacoya?
For me, I'm going to give it 8.5. I think it is really great, but I also want to give room for the next project to grow, because I know it's just going to be better, and I know that shit's going to be a 9 or a 10. So I don't want to duplicate, but I think an 8.5 for this one.
Okay. I was originally, like I mentioned earlier in my review, I was originally going to give it a 7 as a rating. Not because I thought it was bad, because 7's still a vibe.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have heard other Chez Noir joints. And don't get me wrong, this one isn't like worse or like really like much better than other ones, or it's kind of like, I feel like there's this steady progression she's getting. Like, she's getting better rooms, like she's coming up with more creative ways to say her bars. I think she's just really getting started. And
I get that vibe.
Yeah, I do too.
also, I was
She
gonna
just
say the Ransom 38 Special joint kind of put me around that 7. But then when I said I got to that song where I was like, damn, nobody's rapping like her. Like, I gotta give you something for that simple fact. And my number then changed to an 8. Because if you are standing alone in an arena and you're the only one that can, and then even she's talking about like people who are scared to rap with her in the songs.
Oh,
like,
and I believe it.
Talking about like, oh, like these niggas is not trying to get on the song with me. You know what I mean? If that's truly the case, which I know that it is, because that's a common thing that I've heard female rappers saying, then yeah, you get an 8. This is a very good vibe, I think. So yeah. Yeah, it's a great album. I enjoyed this album.
I did it. I did as well. I'm glad you recommended it.
I enjoyed this album.
I'm gonna have to go do some.
Yeah, I actually haven't listened to any other albums also, so I will also be going back and listening.
Yeah, man. So that's it for Chez Noir, Food for Thought. Our next album that we're going to be reviewing is Saba, Few Good Things. The album out right now. I am
Right.
I've been
paid.
waiting for. I should have wore my Saba hoodie. No, I'm gonna wear my Saba hoodie
Right.
when I get the album review done. You know what I'm saying? Saba is incredible. Saba is an incredible artist. He's very underrated, and he needs to be recognized for how great he's been rapping. And I'm looking forward to it. And signing off from the Vibe Perspective Podcast, I go by the name of Mike on the Mic.
You already know it's your favorite girl, Sacoya.
And that guy Monte.
And we out of here. Peace.